could create whatever the hell you wanted. So some kind of machine where you can have this DNA and create really whatever codes you want to create whatever type you wanted, and then and no two people are also alike, even twins aren't really alike, because they have different bodies. But when I got into this whole Noah's Ark thing and the pairs, when the story talks about pairs of animals, but it could be also pairs of chromosomes. I mean, if you were advanced enough, you'd be able to create whatever the hell you wanted, as long as you had the right compounds to do so. And you need the technology. We don't have the technology. We got a little technology.
I mean, we're on the cusp of some of it, but we're nowhere near advanced as the Greys. And
here's a question for you, Michael. Here's a question for you. You were talking about Noah's Ark, and do you think possibility it was like you just said? Is it just the DNA? They just threw an ark on there with the different types of animals?
I'm going to go back to that CIA report when they were doing the remote viewing. I know, Sean, you don't like talking about Mars, but that's what they were doing. They were remote viewing. And and then, at some point, because it was literally an agent sitting there handing an envelope with coordinates to the psychic medium who opens it and then tells them what they see. And then, so at one point, the agent says, and this is online, by the way, you can find the report, and because they declassified it. So at one point, the agent says, go back a million years. I want you to tell me what you see. All right, there's big buildings with tall people, and then very advanced looking, very tall, very thin, clothing like we don't see. He's like, go into one of the buildings. This is a really interesting part to me. He said,
"Oh yeah, I remember this."
And then tell me what you see. There's somebody here in the room. Try to talk to them. Try to communicate with them. Can you? He's like, they know that I'm here, but I think that they think I'm a like a hallucination or something, which is interesting because here's a guy going back a million years, putting himself in presence with somebody in a way. But he said that they're all really concerned because something major happened. They have to live in these big buildings. Some cataclysm happened. They were looking for another place to go, and they sent word. And then, he said there's another planet that's not far away. That it's volcanic. It's got all this stuff going on, but the one thing it has is vegetation and it has life. They needed to do something with that, and they were waiting for a ship to come back to tell them. I mean, I really believe in this story because it feels totally right, and I think that any civilization that would have to come to a place like this, they would have to have a moon to control the seas and things like that, and the seasons and whatever. They would have to have total control of what goes on over the nature. And then, obviously if their kind was dying out, they would want to continue. They would look to do that somehow. And if we're just vessels for a spirit, it doesn't matter really too much on the outside. You know what I mean? Because if you have no arms and legs and you're severely disabled, you still have that spirit in there. So I mean, outwardly we're machines.
But you made a few interesting points. Number one, they say that our solar system is unique because of its placement in the galaxy, and that's true. But there's also speculation. I mean, it's not even speculation. Our moon is not natural. It doesn't belong there. It's too big for the size of our planet, A. And B, it has a perfectly circular orbit, and C, it rings like a bell if you drop anything on it.
They don't know where it came from. I read so many stories.
The rocks are different than the rocks in Earth. So
I hang out up at Cornell from time to time because I like this science. When they were doing the lander, I started going up there a long time ago. So I met a lot of people up there, this physicist and whatever. When I go to these meetings, like they're all talking, they take questions, and afterwards, you could talk to people. And then I talk to them about shit like that, the moon. And then, they don't know. There was a guy there that was, it was the 40th anniversary of the moon landing. There was a dude there who was part of it. And then I got to talk to him. And he was one of the scientists behind it, And I'm like, he's like, we don't know where it came from, the moon. Nobody knows. It wasn't formed from another planet. The other moons you can kind of see or whatever. They don't know. And it's also in a perfect orbit. And they said that that's unusual for other moons and other planets. So There's little
Yeah.
things like that you can look at the moon. Yeah, but if
That
it
would
was a
be
satellite,
interesting. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting.
if it was a satellite, I'll tell you, man, that you would need it. You would need it to control the planet and stabilize it. Because without the moon, this place would be crazy.
There would be no seasons. It'd be one season, and the tides would be unruly.
And the
there
thing
would
with
be-
the ocean, so if the ocean has too much salt or too little salt, it stops flowing. If it stops
Right.
flowing, that's when you get your ice age. That's when, like the weather goes wonky. Everything and anything could happen. Your super cyclones and whatever. Yeah, man. So the
Yeah,
moon
fun.
stabilizes things and gives
But-
us a nice thing to look at. Up in the
But
sky.
and it is nice to look at. Yes, I'll give you that. But there are a few other weirdnesses about it. If it were a natural satellite from the accretion of our planet, when it starts off as an accretion disk and eventually it becomes a planet, there's always a little bit left over, and that becomes the moon. It should be a lot smaller than it is. It's
Yep.
1/6 the size of our planet.
Let me tell you, man, I aspire to open the first ghetto on the moon because it's going to need a ghetto. You know what I mean? Like ghettos in America, ghetto is like the last safe, free zone. I mean, safe in a way, but like it's kind of free.
If you live in the neighborhood, it's safe.
It's freer than other places.
Yeah.
I hung out in a block where the cops were afraid to come down that block. They were afraid. And then you kind of feel like, wow, man, that's pretty interesting. I don't feel afraid. That's kind of interesting. But I don't know. You know what?
That block is on the far side of the moon. Or the
I also
dark
want
side.
the first Indian food restaurant on the moon, man. I think maybe like a strip store. You know what I mean? Like, because they're gonna have to stop and they're gonna have to get some food. When they're traveling out, they're gonna land their ship there. So you want to like give them some pizza, that type of thing. No, why not?
Why not, dude? Why not?
Yeah, man. Name it after everything of the moon. Moon's pizza. Moon's
Well,
Indian,
of course,
Moon's
moon
Chinese.
pies.
Oh yeah.
Like get some of those
What time does Michelle's show come on?
9:10. So we got a few
moon
just a few minutes.
rocks. Those like get really high on the moon type of thing. If you're gonna get high on the moon,
Come and get that moon crack. We got moon rocks for sale.
That would be crazy, man. That would be.
It's gonna happen one day.
But Michael's right on point. That's exactly how our society would be. If we put a colony on the moon right now, there'd be all kinds of things like that. There'd be vape shops and weed dispensaries,
Resorts. There'd be resorts and all that. I mean, they need water, they need things like that. So I mean,
come and get your zero gravity, Asian massage parlor.
That's funny. Happy ending.
Yeah, a happy ending, zero gravity Asian massage parlor visit. I guarantee you that kind of shit is going to happen. Pardon my French.
At some point, they got to get the whole, okay, you need to drink, you need to eat, and how much is it to haul water up to the moon, so they're going to have to think about that concept. There's ice up there. There's a lot of moon ice, but you don't want to be drinking that.
Since we are coming, I mean, we're not coming to, we are in the space age right now. We're spacefaring people. We have a space fleet.
Yeah, recycling systems, recycling water and that type of urine.
So let me ask you guys this: how do you think our society is going to be in 100 years? In 3025, what is going to be different? Where are we in 100 years?
You know what? You know how I see that? What's the name of that movie Sylvester Stallone was in?
Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Taco Bell wins the restaurant wars.
Where they were cussing, or he was saying a cuss word,
I'm
toilet paper spit out, something like that.
Yep. Yeah, murder, death, kill.
They weren't allowed to touch each other. People couldn't touch each other.
Yeah, you couldn't have sex without.
That's what I think.
Reproduce without.
That's what I think our world's going to be at that time.
That's Democrat right there. That's some liberal.
It's going to be Terminator.
I think humans are too savage
on Earth right now.
Humans are too savage for that type of thing.
Well, but I think by Terminator in 100 years, I think she means that it's going to be, all of society is destroyed and there's robots like walking the Earth, killing humans on sight.
We do have AI.
I don't believe in that though, man. I don't think that we're gonna see that in our lifetime.
And I'm with you on that one. Like, I think if that starts to happen, I think the some of the powers that be, that being the aliens, will intervene, because that's not natural destruction. That's not us destroying ourselves. That's a computer going wonky.
Yeah, I think that the whole robot thing has to go long and far for them to really be something we can't stop. You know, I mean, we can always stop a robot or AI or whatever. I mean,
well, check this out, guys. Like coming up in May, they're going to be doing a biopsy on my lung, and they're going to use a robot.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep, they're going to use a robot. That's crazy.
That's very cool. So it's going to go through your.
I don't know how they do it. The doctor
through your veins.
No, down the mouth, down your nostrils, or down.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, dude. And it's brand new. It's brand new technology.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, on the 28th, I'm getting scoped through both ends as well, but for other reasons.
But I don't know. Pretty soon they'll have a pill where you don't die.
There's a great scene in one of the Star Trek movies where they're going to rescue Chekhov, who's been injured on Earth, and they're running through the hospital, and this woman's going, oh, on a gurney. And so Dr. McCoy stops and says, "What's the matter with you?" And she says, "Kidney dialysis." And he says, "Kidney dialysis? What is this, the Dark Ages?" He hands her a pill. She swallows it. He walks away. And then 10 minutes later, you see her leaving the hospital. The doctor said, "I grew a new kidney."
Yeah.
So I want that kind of technology. My kidneys make kidney stones. I want a pill that I can take that instantly kills the kidney stone. I don't have any pain.
Jay, they probably have that technology right now.
I would not be surprised that some of our alien visitors would have those kind of.
Nah, you talking about nanobot technology, and they do have shit like that because I remember when Cornell back in 1994 came up with the nano and the nano motor. It was
I remember
big,
that.
Yeah, big, huge breakthrough, and then that was
Funny you say big, huge breakthrough, something that's nano. I mean, it's like
you should see you should see the building they have dedicated to nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is where it's at for a weapon.
But they don't have that to go. They don't have that for medical right now to go in and just like I eat a bunch of nanobots and they go to my kidneys and eat the kidney stones.
It's more like they could rebuild you and build you a new kidney. You know, I mean, literally turn lead into gold, things like that. You know, if you get into that, micro technology, it's some serious stuff, man. So
yeah,
these colleges are into it. I mean, as a weapon, you can put them in a water supply. People drink them down. They can swim into your body and attach themselves to your brainstem. If you want to get technical, I mean, it's limitless.
Yeah,
in technologies. That's what they're putting a lot of money. That's why you don't hear about it. You don't hear about it, do you? Do you ever hear about anybody talk about nanobots or shit? No, because they're not allowed to. No. It's like the most top secret stuff there is. Nanobot technology, and then it's growing. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's what these are things that they can fix motors on jet fighters, right? I mean, it's limitless what it can and cannot.
They could also do in the reverse. You could drop a bunch of nanobots onto an enemy fighter jet and have it disassemble it while it's in flight.
Could put it in the fuel, and then that's it. That's it for the motor. I mean, it could be very simple, something like that. So they're just investing heavily into nanobot, and now that building's top secret. You can't even get near it really without having all kinds of clearance to get in there. It's a school. It's a school, but it's the same school that did the Manhattan Project. It's the same school that was really at the center, probably of every major science. I mean, it's Cornell. Cornell's Cornell. People think what they want about it. It's a very powerful entity in the world of science.
Well, I mean, England's got theirs as well. They have, what is Cambridge and Oxford's and those kinds of things.
I mean, we have a bunch. We got Pacific Tech. That's a big one. I mean, with science, MIT.
MIT. What's the one in California that did that was DARPA? There was two. One on the West Coast. I thought it was Yale. I'm not certain, but I think it might be the California Institute of Technology and Yale were the first ones to send emails. on the DARPANet in 1958.
I was just looking at a house for rent over by right across from Spanish Hill, Waverly. You know, like Waverly, New York is like right there next to Sayre, Pennsylvania. You know, and Spanish Hill, when they were putting this is the story when they're putting the road in, they found all these skeletons buried into the hill there, real tall, 14 feet tall, 18 feet tall, that type of thing. So then they immediately when they found these things, they stopped working. They called in the chief archaeologist for Pennsylvania, which at the time was in Pittsburgh. He goes there, he identifies these things, and he says they're bones. And then they sent him to the University of Philadelphia for safe storage, where they disappeared completely. And then nobody said anything about it after that. Yeah, they said, "Oh no, they weren't real; they were fake," and they kind of put a story out that they were fake. And I talked to the historian from Waverly; she says the same thing. Oh, it was just a fake and whatever, but she says she thinks they're real. I said, "Do you really think that at that stage in America, when they're digging a highway, that these men digging the highway had the wherewithal to fake all these? There were like 17 of them. Now the area is off limits. There's a Christmas tree farm there, just kind of right there, but it overlooks the river." You know, and if you're going to bury the Indian population, when they would bury people, it would kind of be an area like that, overlooking a river, overlooking water, that type of thing. But these were giants. They were giants in America. And then
part of the story that is also that when the pieces got to the Philadelphia University, they called the Smithsonian, and that's when they disappeared.
Yeah. So they're gone. They were gone. Gonzo. But it's a weird ass area. Like, I go there all the time. I kind of cruise down that little corridor every once in a while anyway. And it's not all that far from me. But it's a funny feeling. It's weird. It's weird.
So how hard would it be to hike up to that hill? Or could
I drove up there and it's a Christmas tree farm, and the guy wants nothing to do with anybody. All these years, people going up there, and looking
to dig up some giant bones.
You could dig up some more, and people want to go in there with ground radar. He wouldn't allow it. He's kind of like you don't even like people at all. His driveway's blocked off, and he wants nothing to do with anyone. It's the only house that's there too, so it's like it's his land.
All the signs on the fence say "Beware of owner." Don't worry about the dog. Beware of the owner.
But I mean, that would be something for history. And then there's hundreds of sites around the world. They found giants. So, but they said the shortest one was 14 feet tall. They believed there was a woman. I seriously doubt the chief archaeologist for Pennsylvania out of Pittsburgh is going to lie to anybody about that.
Or misidentify humans.
Or be wrong about bones, and about this one's a woman, and they had horns too. The men had horns, like these horns sticking out of their heads, like these two nubs. So weird, right? And they found similar in Turkey. They found similar in other places. In Greece, they found that they had a dig where they found these giants with the same type of horns. So think about that.
Interesting. It is that time, guys. It's 9:06.
We are coming up on it. Yeah, absolutely. We do apologize to our audience for any technical glitches, but things will be running smoothly. We will all be back Friday for news on the flip side. I'll be back for Church of Mavis right before that. Sean, you're going to be on Tuesdays and Sundays. What times?
8:10 to 9:10 p.m.
Awesome. And then you'll be with us Saturday for the chat, which will be followed by Michael Angley at 10.
And then
Michael Angley live.
Michael Angley live. Yes.
Who are you talking to on Saturday night, Michael?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't have a
right. It's a free for all.
It's a free for
all. I love that.
I call it the conversation. So
there you go. That's
whatever
great,
pops
man.
up.
That's the only way to do it. The only way, just start talking, and wherever you go with it, you go with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very, very good.
All right, guys.
We thank you for being here. Sean, Michael, thank you guys, and we'll see you guys on Friday.
All right, see you guys.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.